Yeah, it's exactly like a mafia kind of tactic to kind of go behind the scenes and be, you're going to stay loyal, right? We can count on you, right? Not to flip on anyone. And kind of great reporting by Betsy yesterday. We have some additional reporting on the person who sent Meadows, who sent Cassidy Hutchinson that message, and we understand that that person in question is of interest to the Select Committee, not only for sending that message, which may constitute some sort of witness tampering or witness intimidation, but because they may be a fact witness to Donald Trump and his actions close to January 6th. So it sounds like the Select Committee, for the moment, is also not making the name of the person who messaged Cassidy Hutchinson public, because they may still want to bring them in, and they may still want to interview them or re-interview them, as the case may be, in a future deposition. So clearly, the Select Committee is focused on this as a real matter of concern.
Betsy, obviously, if this was to go to the DOJ, they wouldn't just want to have some kind of conviction for a small crime. The feeling would be that if you're going to go to the unprecedented step of charging a former president, then you need to be able to convict him of something that is important. As we've got to this stage in the hearings, what's your sense about what the committee is thinking in terms of what those crimes might be that are both convictable and would rise to the level of importance enough that it was worth the DOJ doing something that was so unusual in American politics and law?
From talking to sources who view this from sort of a 360-degree view perspective, what I hear over and over is that the biggest likely statute or crime that the Justice Department is probably considering in regards to President Trump and people close to him would be obstruction of an official proceeding. That would essentially look at the efforts that Trump and his allies took to keep the January 6th Electoral College certification from moving forward. The witness tampering piece of this, using, of course, the legal phrase that Congressman Jamie Raskin, a member of the committee, used after the hearing to describe the slides that the committee put up on screen, is obviously something that's a top priority for committee investigators right now. Highlights the fact that their investigation very much is not done. Of course, what they're going to have to do is flesh out context, flesh out what were these conversations, when did they happen, who had them, were these, what was the tone of these conversations, what was the subtext. It's one thing to present excerpts of a deposition of justice, to know that anyone related to this, it would be in an adversarial proceeding with the defense attorney, with people pushing back, with people making counter arguments. So the Justice Department is always, always, always going to move a lot slower than the Select Committee, because the job that they have is just so much exponentially more difficult.
So, Hugo, we've got a bit of a July breather here in these hearings. The committee will resume its work in a couple of weeks, or the hearings in a couple of weeks. Let's turn the page and look ahead. Obviously, there's been so much put on the table just in these first half dozen hearings. What is still out there for this committee that you've been covering so closely?
Well, now they've issued a formal subpoena to Pat Cipollone, as we were discussing earlier. That's kind of the next agenda item, the next immediate agenda item for the committee. He has to come in for a deposition July 6th. That's what it says on the subpoena. So that's kind of in the immediate viewfinder. But then coming down the road, we have at least two more hearings, right? Jamie Raskin is supposed to lead a hearing on the Proud Boys and the militia groups that stormed the Capitol, and what DOJ and the Select Committee believes was a coordinated assault. I understand that he's been preparing pretty closely with one of the senior investigative counsels on the committee to lay out his hearing and the plan for that. And then, of course, you have the 187 minutes of the Capitol attack, where Trump sat in the White House and knew the Capitol was getting attacked and did nothing. So at least two more hearings to come when the House returns on July 12th. We understand that Jamie Raskin's hearing will be on that day that Congress comes back on July 12th. So more to come still, I think.